Hey, welcome back to the Lead Counsel Podcast. This is your host, Tom Tona. Before we jump into today's topic, I just want to take a moment to thank the sponsors of the podcast. This episode is sponsored by Tona Law. They're not just another law firm. They're defining what it means to fight for their clients. We get a lot of attorney referrals from across the country. We pay fee participation in all jurisdictions where it's permitted. We focus on integrity, innovation, and relentless advocacy. Tona Law is proving that the business of law can scale without losing its heart. If you want to see how a modern firm is built for impact and happy client referrals, check out tonalaw.com. Mention again the Lead Counsel Podcast, and I'm happy to get on the phone with you. The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, the book. I wanted to talk about it because I love this book. I don't think you had a chance to read it yet, but it was amazing. Just an amazing, amazing book. And for anybody that's following kind of the mindfulness, stillness stuff that we're doing, it's along those lines. And, you know, I finished a couple of books on the Stoics, which we will keep talking about, right? And all of a sudden I got into like a bunch of highlights from this book. So the whole premise of the book, it's about this attorney. It's called The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. Mm-hmm. It's a fable, which I wasn't even sure. I don't know if you clipped that out of the last show.
I think I caught it. I think I did.
Yeah. So it's a fable. It's not a true story, but it actually reads like a true story where I was like confused at first. But this protagonist is a high-powered attorney named Julian Mantle who has a heart attack in court one day. He's a trial lawyer, high price. He's worth $300 million, has a heart attack in court, and he just changes his life after that. He sells everything in order to pursue the real meaning of life, right? What's going to be the ultimate meaning of life? And it's good for lawyers to read. I think especially a lot of lawyers listen to this. If you haven't read it, read the book, but it's about what matters, right? This lawyer who just basically has accomplished everything career-wise at the expense of everything else. And the guy's burnt out. He has a heart attack. He was in horrible shape because he neglected his health. Then he decides after to sell everything, hence the title, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. And he's in search of the monks, the sages of Savannah, which is this monastery in the Himalayan mountains. It talks about what really matters in building contentment and the meaning of life. And, you know, again, it's a fable meant to just open your eyes to different things. And like Gary Vee says it all the time, and I just experienced it. None of this bullshit matters. None of it, right? It matters that if you're going to take on clients, you do a good job, you treat them well. If you have people that work for you, work with you, you treat them kindly, you pay them well. That all matters, but that's not the be all and end all. So that's basically the entree into the book and why I found it to be just a very moving book. One of the big things about mindfulness books and mindfulness study and meditation is you slow down time, right? You slow down time and then you can emotionally react, but you stop it and you don't, you're slowing it down. You're slowing down the process and it's awesome. It's like a superpower. So I think that, you know, the book ties into that by talking about mastering your mind, right? Talks about the importance of positive thinking and mental clarity. And in the book, he comes back from the Himalayas and he's talking to his old protege who's still trying cases at his old firm. Right. And he says, you know, at one point, there are tools you have to implement. You cannot even allow one negative thought to exist in your mind. So what do you do when it happens? Well, first of all, you have to be present enough to know it's happening. And second of all, you have to replace it with a positive thought. Right. So mastering your mind, mastering your emotions, that is the highest level. Yeah. You know, he talks about following your purpose, right? In the book, identifying one's why, right? You got to have a why. And your why can't be money. God forbid your why is ever money. So, and if it is, you'll see it's not good enough reason. It's not a good enough reason. And the concept of Kaizen they talk about in the book, continual self-improvement with small, consistent actions. I read the book, The Spirit of Kaizen, and then this book. And it's something that I've always wanted to embrace, which is incremental, everyday improvement, right? I think that that's a trademark of high achievers. And that doesn't have to be leaps and bounds. It could be small little things. If you react 1/10 better than you did the day before to stress, to emotions, and you were always a very emotional person.
I'm just getting it under control.
Yes, but that's the key, right? Just the fact that you're more aware of it, right? Using tools like journaling and meditation, all the stuff that we talk about. So that's small incremental improvement, discipline. So he talks about 10 rituals in the book. And again, this is fiction, right? But I loved it. So I'm going to take you through it really quick, 1 through 10. 10 rituals of radiant living, right? The first is the ritual of solitude, which means you're ensuring that your daily schedule includes a mandatory period of peace. Simple. The one thing this book also talks about is you can't control anything in this world other than one thing. What's the one thing you can control?
What you do.
What you do, man. Your reactions. That's it. What you think and what you do. You can't control anything else in this world. And a lot of what we design our day around is to try to control outcomes, try to control what other people are going to do. You can't control what other people are going to do. The next strategy, and again, a lot of this will speak to you, Jules, because it's all stuff we talk about, but he talks about the ritual of physicality, which says that you have to care for your body and care for your mind equally, right? So the next ritual he talks about is the third ritual is the ritual of radiant living, right? It's basically the ritual of live nourishment, right? And then the fourth ritual in the book is known as the ritual of abundant knowledge, right? Continuously learning and reading biographies of like great thinkers, Benjamin Franklin, Mahatma Gandhi. So he recommends all of this in the book. The ritual of personal reflection, right? That comes from journaling, self-reflection, looking at, did I do good today? Was I kind today? Was I not kind today? So the sixth ritual for radiant living is the ritual of early awakening, which, as you know, and anybody who knows me knows, we get up early, man. I get up early. Even on vacation, I get up early because I get my meditations, I get my workout in. The seventh ritual is the ritual of music and how it just gives you the same kind of energy and spiritual boost and how good it is for your soul. The eighth ritual that he talked about was the ritual of the spoken word, which is about mantras. And basically it's about self-talk, right? The next ritual that he talks about is the ritual of congruent character. Do you work every day to strengthen your character? And strengthening your character affects the way that you see yourself and the actions that you take. The 10th one is the ritual of simplicity, right? Just living a simple life. He talks about other concepts in there, but again, I just thought the book was amazing because it was a parable for grown-ups and for grown-ups that are seeking something more. You feeling burnt out? The monk who sold his Ferrari. It definitely put a lot of things in perspective, for me. Bill, the lawman Umansky. It's funny, Bill, because we know each other years now, but I've seen such an evolution where you just made a statement of, I don't get emotional about it anymore, right? And I think we were texting about the book Untethered Soul. Yeah. Like, dude, that book set me free a couple of weeks ago. Like, literally, it was one of those things. I was actually under high stress with an unexpected departure, which would have ruined my entire week. Honestly, like it would have. And it didn't. It was a gift because I picked this book up on the way out the door to Turks and Caicos. I read the book on the beach and I let go of all of it, man. Like, I realized that we're all emotional individuals and a lot of times our emotions don't really serve us all that well. They're more like, they're currents of energy that if you just let them pass, good and bad, you see things clearly for what they are. Monty Kane. I had the epiphany last year. It's not just PI lawyers used to say, got to get him in the door. That's the hard part. It's not just that anymore. Not only do you got to get them in the door, you got to keep them in the door. You got to keep them happy. And clients' expectations have been changed by Uber, Google, Amazon. So they want a 5-star experience through the entire process. So I had the same epiphany you did, which is we have to step up the client experience to the point where I read a book. I forget the author's name now, Unreasonable Hospitality. I don't know if you've read it.
I haven't.
It's by a restaurateur who was in Manhattan, very famous case study. But basically, it's becoming obsessed with that client experience. And how do you weave it into a law firm? quick break to thank the sponsors of the podcast. This episode is supported by Tona Law, a modern law firm built on integrity and innovation. Learn how they're changing the game at tonalaw.com. Attorney referrals accepted from across the country. You'll see what it's like when you send us a case. You'll have some happy clients. Riley Harrison. I want to land this plane with, a couple of, rapid fire questions, which I started to like to do. One book that every lawyer should read.
As far as like trial lawyer, I think Rules of the Road should be the Bible, probably first thing you read. Rick Friedman. And then I really like anything by David Ball and, Keenan. I think their stuff, the original Reptile stuff, and then the Ball on Damages and all that is fantastic. I guess I'm saying multiple books. And then I've gotten into the Keith Mitnick. I'm reading Don't Eat the Bruises right now. I love that. So I think that that theme of any of those books are where it's at. But if you're interested in learning the business side of it, I think the Fireproof book by Mike Morris is second to none. I think it's a phenomenal read. And as someone who does enjoy the business side, who enjoys the marketing, the intake, all of that book was a very, very interesting read. And it's also going to shape how we do some marketing moving forward with the cherry beat, in a world of vanilla, be cherry Dr. Pepper basically is what it, or cherry Garcia. I love that. So anyways, I think that those would be whichever lane you're in, I think those would be the books I would look at.
Darren Wurz, book recommendation.
Oh, book recommendation. Right now, I read a couple of great books this year. In our community, we're focusing on the theme Profit on Purpose. And so each of the books we're reading is focused on profitability. The one I really liked a lot, I think a lot of law firm owners will love, is called The Road Less Stupid by Keith Cunningham.
Okay. Road Less Stupid. I'm going to put that on my list. Seth Deutsch, the book that you authored, The Owner's Manual, Why, When, and How to Sell Your Business to Private Equity, I thought was awesome. I heard about it on a different podcast and I got sucked right in because it writes from the founder's view, like it addresses the different, I think your sweet spot is like first-time founders, right? If I got that right?
Yes, and what I would say is you could be a multi-time founder, but it's the first time you're thinking about selling your business to an outside party, right? And in the United States, and we really wrote this for the owners of small businesses who don't necessarily have access to the type of knowledge and insight that larger businesses or people that are going to YPO or, that have access to Goldman Sachs or Morgan Stanley, these types of folks. I'm talking about mom and pop because, I grew up, my first house wasn't a house, it was a trailer. I don't come from anything. And, I've learned all this myself, and we don't want other founders to have to step on the rakes that we already stepped on, right? And I remember when I first had the idea to write the book, it's part of a construction business that I'm the chairman of. And we were talking to some founders. They had a broker. And this family had come from nothing, 4 young children, small business, maybe about $500,000 of net income, completely untransactable. Basically 2 clients, and the entire business was running through the husband with the wife supporting and a few subcontractors. And incredible for them, but not something that an outside buyer could acquire. And the business broker had gotten their listing, told them all types of stories about what was going to be possible. And it was heartbreaking to have to sit there. We could have lied to them instead. My CEO and I sat there for 3 hours and explained to them that if at some point in time that they wanted to be able to sell the business, what they would be able to do. And, I've personally acquired 80 companies in my career, myself, my team, thousands. That means that I've probably looked at 3,000 deals. And we felt the need to take all of this information and bring it back to founders. And we also we shifted our team because our team used to be constantly consumed and contracting with and building businesses for private equity. That same team that has sat on that other side for so long is now available to coach founders and to help them prepare for this. So we work with companies big and small to help them basically what we call remodel the business before an exit. And this is what's really, really important. We actually just taught a class to the EO chapter of Chicago. As you go through that book, whether or not you ever intend to sell your business or not, if you practice the principles of the book, the business will become stronger, less fragile, more resilient to change. And I just kind of felt like it's a lived experience. And I felt just really compelled to share this. And I was also so blessed that 25 of my friends also contributed to the book. It's not just my words. It's from 25 executives who have been through what other founders are contemplating.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Lead Counsel Podcast. Your host, Tom Tona. Go Anywhere Podcasts are distributed. Follow us. Leave us a 10-star review. Share some episodes with your friends. And thanks for listening. I appreciate it. Thank you. This episode is sponsored by Tona Law. They're not just another law firm. They're defining what it means to fight for their clients. We get a lot of attorney referrals from across the country. We pay fee participation in all jurisdictions where it's permitted. We focus on integrity, innovation, and relentless advocacy. Tona Law is proving that the business of law can scale without losing its heart. If you want to see how a modern firm is built for impact and happy client referrals, check out tonalaw.com. Mention again the Lead Counsel Podcast, and I'm happy to get on the phone with you.